Hi, good morning or good evening. I'm using this new software, so maybe if somebody can. Hi, there's one person on so far. So, I'm using new software, so forgive me if things are a little awkward, but I'm trying a new thing called StreamYard. So, if you can comment so I could see if everything's working, that would be great. I hope we'll have a lot more people join this morning. So, I'm going to go over. Hey, Sunny. Thanks for commenting so I know everything's working. Oh, hey, Dash. Thanks, Manpreet. Thanks, everybody, for showing up. Yay, it's working. Praveen, thank you for your congrats. All right, great. Everything is working. So I have my laptop on a whole stack of books. So it seems like if I laugh or anything, everything jiggles. So forgive me for that. But the reason I realized, besides the practice one that I did this past week, I hadn't done lives for a really long time. And part of the reason is because I am vain. I'm going to admit that because I wear bifocals most of the time. And so to read the comments on the screen with the laptop raised up, I looked really funny because I was kind of like, so cheap solution to that is that I'm just wearing reading glasses. So I know it's kind of anyway. So hopefully maybe I'll be doing more lives in the future with this software. It looks like it's easy to bring in guests and do lives together. Hey, APB Desham. Hey, thank you for showing up. Wow. So for those of you who may not know, one of the amazing things that has happened in the last 5 years is that APB Desham, which is an online news site, asked me to do classic Telugu reviews. And so Harsha and I have been exploring the films of, of NTR and ANR and Savitri and all the way back to the 50s. I think the earliest one we did was 1953, Devadasu with ANR. Amazing. I watched it without subtitles even. So it has been an amazing 5 years. So this is the exact year, 5 years ago, that I created this channel. But how did this all begin? So I actually was working with the Bali Fools channel, which is no more, for a few months before I went solo here in July of 2017. So what started it all? Because I never thought that I would have a YouTube channel. I never thought about doing it. And then so I have the clip that was aired on Bali Fools. What happened is it's all because of Bahubali. So I went to see the first Bahubali with a neighbor, and it was my very first Telugu film. And then I was ready, like I watched that one 4 times in the theater, and then I watched it, I don't know, at least 10 times. I've seen it more than that. And then I went to see first show IMAX of Bahubali 2. And I think I posted on Twitter to the Bali Fools guys that I was going first day, first show. And then, oh my goodness, thank you, Manpreet. So so I have the clip. So Kartik, who worked behind the scenes, happened to live in Chicago. And he said, could I interview you? I'm seeing the second showing. Could I interview you between the showings? And so let's see if this works. And so this was my off the cuff, spoiler free review of Bahubali 2. Hi, I'm Melanie. I'm recording this for Bali Fools. I just got out of the very first IMAX showing of Bahubali 2. It was amazing. It was amazing. We've waited 2 years to learn why Katapa killed Bahubali. I'm not going to spoil that for you because everyone should enjoy the story yourself. Prabhas is, of course, amazing. Rajamouli is the master. It it was so satisfying. Sometimes you're really worried that will the sequel live up to your expectations and hopes, especially since we've been waiting 2 long years for the culmination of the story. I can tell you the majority of the movie is the story in the past, and then there's a final epic battle. We've seen little glimpses of that in the trailer. It's even more epic than you can imagine. So it was amazing.
Was it better than the first one?
I think they're two different things, because the first movie just blew me away so much just because it was so unexpected. I didn't, all of the imagination, the vision that he had, the scenery, it was just, I don't think you can replace that feeling of wonderment of the very first time that you see Bahubali.
Okay.
Now, after seeing the first one, you sort of expect he's going to give me crazy things that I've never seen before. I mean, there was one fantasy sequence. I mean, it was a fantasy song. I saw some of the men just kind of pulling their phones out like, oh, it's a love song. But it was so beautiful and just literally a flight of fancy. That was maybe my favorite part. So there's plenty of action for guys who love all the action and the blood and the gore and the, sword fights and whatever. Not maybe as much love story, but one thing that was great, now that I've seen some of Prabhas's earlier movies, he has this playful sense of humor in his love stories usually, like Darling, like Mr. Perfect, and there was a little bit of that in his romance with Devasena, which I loved. Prabhas. So, yeah, Vishnu says that hair though. Yeah, I've been through a few hair colors. And crazy things over the last 5 years. Anurag asks, what does my family think about my YouTube channel? I think they're really proud. I think none of them are really that interested in seeing Indian films with me. I have shown them, the only ones I forced them to see, let's put it that way, were the Bahubali films. I have a fond memory of, after that video was taken, one of the times that I saw Bahubali 2 in the theater, I took my whole family, and all these Indian families were coming into the theater, and they were kind of doing a double take, like, why are these 5 people? Were we in the wrong theater? And then for my birthday this year, I made my son and my husband watch RRR, and they really enjoyed it. And my son's girlfriend, just this week, I showed her RRR, and it is, yeah, she loved it. She said, I knew it was going to be good from what you were saying, but it was just, she was like, I didn't know it was going to be this good. She really loved it. And I paused the film at the interval for a bathroom break, and I'm like, okay, we're halfway. She's like, what? She couldn't believe that we were only halfway. I'm like, I know a whole bunch has happened, but there's a whole bunch left to go. Yeah, thank you, Dash. I think I am basically the same, although here's another amusing clip. I downloaded my very first video review. So the very first video I posted was an introduction. You may have seen that, kind of explaining my journey on how I found Bollywood. Well, if you don't know it, it is, I have a Facebook memory that comes up. So it was actually July of 2014, and I watched DDLJ on Netflix. And then right after that, I watched Rabni Bani Di Jodi, and I was a goner for Shah Rukh Khan. I love movie musicals. I love romantic stories, and that's what Indian film gave me. And somebody mentioned about seeing Saho. Yeah, Sunny. Yeah, my husband was like, how much should we pay for this? Okay. Anyway, so I started with Hindi films, and as I said, Bahubali was my first Telugu film. It has been an amazing journey. I actually have, hold on, so let's see if anybody, I don't know if you can guess. So I have 1,000 videos, but that doesn't mean that was 1,000 movies, because for some movies, I did a song reaction, I did a trailer reaction, there was multiple trailers, right? So I haven't done 1,000 reviews, but I keep track on a diary on Letterboxd. If you're not familiar with that, it's kind of a place to keep track, and you can post your reviews and whatever. And it's a great community site to keep track of movies. So I keep lists of how many Hindi movies I've seen, how many Telugu movies I've seen, how many, whatever. So I have, here's the breakdown. In the last, so this is not in 5 years, this is since 2014. But in the last 8 years, I've seen 341 Hindi movies, 124 Telugu movies, 107 Malayalam movies, 93 Tamil, and only a dozen Kannada. So, and then there's a handful of smattering of Gujarati and Marathi and so forth. So the grand total is 682 Indian films, which like blows. Somebody asked how my family and friends think about it. Like that absolutely blows their mind. So it's kind of crazy. Anyway, so going back, it is very ironic. What there is, Manpreet asked if there's any Punjabi. I don't have a whole list, but I have seen a few Punjabi films, like what is it, Julian Jat? A couple of the Diljit's movies. So I have seen. Like at a film festival, I've seen an Assamese and whatever, and in Bengali. So there's a smattering of the other, but I haven't done any serious of doing any serious study of some of the other film industries. So my main ones, and so I'm getting more into Kannada, and seems like Kannada films are more likely to be played in theaters around here, which is exciting. Like if you haven't seen, Vikrant Rona was the one that just came out this weekend. And the star Sudeep actually thanked me for my review on Twitter, and the official Twitter account for the movie tweeted out my review. That was pretty amazing. Anyway, okay, so I was like, was kind of curious. Now, remember, I did a few months on Bollyfools, but the very first film that I reviewed here on my solo YouTube channel was Vikram
This is
Vedha.
Melanie, movie Maven Gal. I saw a Tamil film tonight that was amazing. Vikram Vedha with Madhavan and Vijay Sethupathi. Now, I've always loved Madhavan back from Three Idiots and, his other Hindi roles, Tana Weds Manu. When he's clean shaven, he has like this teddy bear aspect. He did that female boxing movie where he was the coach. The Tamil version was Arudi Sutru. When he has this beard and he's so buff right now, he's really been working out. He looks like a big bear. I don't know. So instead of a
Okay, I later learned, I think Madhavan watched this. I think there was a tweet interchange, and I was mortified that he heard describing him as a teddy bear and a big grizzly bear. All right. Anyway, so look how awkward I was. I have come a little bit farther, a little bit more comfortable on camera. Like, it's pretty funny. I was just like, it was awkward at first speaking in an empty room, right? Like it is kind of a strange thing. But I've become more comfortable because we have had such a conversation, right, in the comments. And I really feel like when I'm doing these reviews, I'm picturing you behind the camera. I'm speaking right to you. I'm asking you questions. That has been the biggest joy for me in having this channel, is that, as I said, my family and my friends in real life mostly have absolutely zero interest in Indian film. And so it is great for me to have a place to discuss it and to ask questions and to learn more about it. Because if I say, I love this particular movie, I love this particular actor, tell me more, then absolutely, this is the place where I can go and I can ask, oh man, I really like this one guy. Like, who have you, what else has he done? Or what else has she done? Or, so and so forth. So it's been an amazing way to have this conversation. I didn't make a slide of like what are my most, top videos or whatever, but they've kind of all different, there was a Malayalam trailer reaction, the recent Arabic song from the recent VJ movie reaction was up there. So, and then Bad Hai Ho, the famous one where I almost fell off my chair laughing, reaction to that trailer. It was funny. I was conversing with somebody. Oh, and they said, "Oh, you're the one that laughs." Okay, that's pretty funny. All right, so I was kind of interested. If you don't know, my audience is mostly male. I don't know why. Mostly younger, like kind of in the 20 to 30 range. YouTube kind of tells me what my audience is. Most of you are watching on a cell phone. And I was kind of curious. They have a new thing in the analytics of what cities visit me the most. And so this I thought was kind of interesting. If you can't read it, the number one city of my viewers, of how many views I've had over the entire lifetime of my channel, is Kochi, then Hyderabad, then Bangalore, then Chennai, and finally Coimbatore. So if you'll notice, none of those are in North India. None. So I mean, I think I have kind of tilted more to South Indian films as the later, as we've gone on. And so one of the things that's changed over 5 years is when I started, what I knew the most about was Hindi cinema, because I had seen hundreds of Hindi films by the time I started my channel. And then I just started in with Southern films. And I don't know, I think that's one of the stories of Indian cinema over the last 5 years of how things have changed. Somebody was kind of complaining, why, where's the UK sending? It's just you. Maybe that's the problem. Somebody was complaining that I don't do as many Bollywood films, and I kind of feel like, I don't know, I haven't left Bollywood, but Bollywood has kind of left me. Like, I'm just not getting the same, I don't know. Like, I was just, this year, the only Hindi movie that I really loved was Gangabab Kadiawali. I really enjoyed that film, but I don't know. I mean, I know a lot of films have been delayed over COVID and everything, and I'm looking forward to next year. Obviously, the actor that I have seen the most films is Shah Rukh Khan. If you've watched my channel for a long time, you know I'm a huge Shah Rukh Khan film. And how many years hiatus has he been on without giving us any films, right? I mean, I am so excited about the pipeline of films that are coming, Patan and whatever, and he's working with he's working with some of my favorite directors from South Indian cinema, like Atlee and so forth. So I'm excited about these partnerships and learning. One of the things I've learned over these 5 years is how much things have changed. As far as I have an awareness of an original idea will happen in a South Indian film, and then it'll be remade, right? And so the funny thing is, my very first review was Vikram Vedha, and what is coming out in September 30th? Vikram Vedha. So the Hindi version, which I have to admit, because I have such strong feelings about Madhavan and Vijay Setapati, that's going to be Saif Ali Khan and Hrithik. Like, not that I don't love those actors, but I'm like, okay, giving it a little bit of the side eye, like, how can it be as good as the original, right? So I have not read Desperately Seeking Shah Rukh, but I have heard about it. So yeah, I'm definitely interested in reading that. So I have you look English, but for us you look Indian. Thanks, Hulkman. Oh, Filmy Librarian. Oh, I didn't realize I didn't connect. Hey, thank you for commenting and letting me know the connection. So anyway, that is it's just kind of, I've seen how many movies I've seen in the South, and then now seeing the Hindi remake, and it goes all the way back to the beginning, right? Because now I'm watching some of these classic Telugu films, and some of them, like Nagarjuna remakes his own movies in Bollywood or whatever. So it's just interesting. I don't know. I'm much more attracted now to a lot of the films in the South, but each industry has its own flavor. I love Malayalam films because they feel like independent cinema would. Thank you, Bharat, for the congratulations. So I'm opening it up to any questions. I've shared all the slides that I have and videos and whatever. So I'm opening it up to an ask me anything. So It's been an amazing journey, and I appreciate all of my viewers. I can't believe 5 years, and it's like 39,000 subscribers. You have seen movies from Kush says you have seen movies from all Indian industries. Which one stands out for you? Okay, like this is really hard. I mean, the movie that started it all, but it's still like kind of a problematic classic is DDLJ, right? I mean, that's what started it all. Me watching that film. My comfort film in Hindi films is Rabdi Banadi Jodi. I've seen that so many times. I mean, that's just one I can put on and feel better. Or the Khubsurat with Fawad Khan. Yeah. So, favorite music composer is A.R. Rahman, and that's kind of what led me into a lot of Tamil films. And I watched, Dil Se, because again, I've seen, I think it's 58 Shah Rukh Khan movies. And then I really loved that director, Mani Ratnam. And so I sought out more of his films in Tamil cinema. I went to an A.R. Rahman concert here in Chicago. Okay, picture me waiting for my friends outside the theater, and an Indian guy just comes up to me and says, this is Indian music, don't you? I'm like, yeah, I know. Like he thought I was in the wrong place. Okay. So anyway, watching that concert, he played a song from OK Kanmani, and the movie had not even come out yet. I was so taken with the song. I was like, I have to see this movie. That's what started everything with Dulquer. So that was his Tamil film, OK Kanmani. And then, of course, if I wanted to see more Dulquer Salman movies, I had to watch them in Malayalam, which started my whole journey. I mean, once I watched Ustad Hotel and Bangalore Days, I just wanted more and more and more. So have I seen the 3 Decades of SRK? I'm not sure if I've seen that one. There's so many compilation ones, and I've done the reactions to some of them, but I will look for that one. Can I understand Hindi? No. So I know some words. I actually tried to self-study Hindi a little bit, so I can kind of sound out the letters, reading it. And I understand, I mean, after watching, 8 years of Hindi films, like if somebody says chalo, I know what they mean. Okay, like there's certain phrases that I don't have to look down at the subtitles. And the same thing in Telugu and Malayalam and Tamil, like I can understand a few phrases that are repeated, and especially relationship words, because they don't always get translated. Like there is no, there'd be a separate word for maternal uncle and paternal uncle in Hindi or Telugu or whatever, and there isn't that just one word for that, and it'll just be a subtitled uncle, right? So it won't be the same. And so I picked up some of those relationship words, which kind of, adds meaning and adds enjoyment. But I wouldn't be able to order a taxi or order dinner or anything useful. Just because I know prem means love doesn't mean that I'd be able to do anything practical if I was suddenly found myself in Mumbai. So what is the movie that I'm waiting for the most? Oh my gosh. Whatever Rajamouli does next. I am interested about this Vikram Veda, and I haven't done a trailer reaction to Brahmastra, but I'm kind of curious about it, but I'm also a little side-eye about it. Like, I don't know, we've been waiting so long, I kind of feel like it can't live up to our expectations of what it might be for a superhero movie. I don't know. So, have I booked for Sitaraman yet? No, I haven't yet. I don't have my tickets yet, but I'm so looking forward to that as well. Any film from Dulquer, I'm really excited about. So, why not doing anything to increase your subscribers? Well, I'm doing this. You know what? This year has been, I know I have kind of taken a step back and not done as many things on my channel. Part of it is the pandemic. I kind of felt like I was in a slump. There wasn't as many movies that came out. And also, I had a lot just going on in my personal life. So I've mentioned it in a couple things. Like I've mentioned, my eldest son got married this spring. We had a small ceremony in our backyard in August of 2020 during the pandemic with just 5 of us there, and a family friend being an officiant. But then finally, his delayed wedding we had in Pittsburgh, where his bride's family is from. So I was very concentrated on the wedding. And then also we've moved house. I mean, if you've noticed, when I showed the old clip, I'm not in the same house, and we have downsized to a smaller place. I had been in a house for 24 years, and that's a lot. Hey, Pranav, it's so good to see you. So there's just been a lot going on this year, just in my personal life of moving house, and you'll notice I'm going to be gone the next couple of weeks traveling, and I'm going to have 2 houses. I'm going to have another house in the state of Colorado. And so we're closing on that house in a couple of weeks. So yeah, there's just been a lot going on. So I know I haven't devoted as much to this channel, and I don't know. It's just like, I know there are other channels that are much more popular, have much more viewers, some who have been around. I'm not going to name names, but you know who I'm talking about, who've been around a lot longer. And I feel like I do something different. So, Indian guy says, can you tell me something about your family? I should have had a picture that I could show, but okay. So I have 3 sons, and my oldest is going to be 30 later this year. He's the one that just got married, and then my middle son will be 26 in September, and then my youngest son Ben, who you've seen on this channel occasionally, he is a senior in college, so he is 21. And they all have significant others. I love their girlfriends. Like I said, my youngest, I just showed her RRR. So like my husband says, don't tell him not to break up with her. But I was like, Ben, please don't break up with Shanna. I love her. I am the oldest of 4 siblings, and then my mother is still living. My father passed away in the last 5 years. If you watch my film review of the Nani film Jersey, I saw that film right after my father's funeral, and I didn't know what the movie was going to be about. I didn't know that Nani, the father in the movie, was going to die. And I just picture me sitting, I didn't even cry at my father's funeral because I was like being strong for my mother and whatever. And then I'm sitting there in that theater, and I just like sobbed. I just sobbed. So anyway, so yeah, I have 2 brothers, and I have a sister, and I'm the oldest. And I'm just, yeah. Somebody says, "Do your thing." That's why we love you. I know. I feel like I'm something a little bit different. Like I model myself on Roger Ebert, which he's been passed away for a few years now, so not everybody knows who he was, but he was a famous Chicago critic. He and Gene Siskel started the thumbs up, thumbs down thing for movies. And I always think to myself, what would Roger do? Like, he would kind of give the background of, this is a debut film director, this is this actress's second film or whatever. And that's the kind of information I try to give, because that's the kind of stuff I would want to know if I was watching a trailer reaction or a film review. I want to know, like, is this a debut film director? Then I'm going to feel different about it than if this is some guy's 10th film, right? So that is different. Starboy says, try to collaborate. Now that I'm learning the StreamYard thing, it would be nice to do. Evidently, it's easy to have guests on, and that would be fun to do some more collaborations once I get a little settled into the second house and all right. So going back up, I hope that was enough about my family. Sorry I didn't have a picture to show. I think I've shared some pictures in some of my reviews. Sunny asked, did I see the Netflix interview with the Russo brothers and Rajamouli? He's shooting his new film already? Yes. Like, I'm like the meme, right? Like, that's right. I don't know anything about what Rajamouli's next film is, but you know I'm going to be there first day, first show. I have not watched the interview yet, but I did see the Russo brothers tweet about it and how amazing it was for them to meet, Sir Rajamouli. And I was just like, even though I'm not Desi, like I just had such pride. I have had the best time seeing RRR trending on Twitter and all of these Hollywood people discovering the film just yesterday. And all the people in my life who have never seen an Indian film are hearing about it. Just yesterday, my old college boyfriend, the one before my husband, sent me a Facebook message out of the blue. And he's like, "Do you know anything about this RRR movie?" And he's like, "Is it any good?" And I'm like, "Well, let me tell you, it's amazing." So it was just so funny. Or I've had people, it is people watch it and then they want more. And so I've had, acquaintances, friends who said, "Hey, we happen to watch this RRR movie on Netflix. Is there anything else like that?" I'm like, "Well, I got a list." Like, how much do you want? Right. And of course I send them to Bahubali next and whatever. But yeah, I mean, it's just amazing because I feel like Western cinema doesn't have that emotion. I mean, RRR has amazing action. It has an amazing romance. It has an amazing dance number. It has amazing music, but it's the emotion in the film. Like, you don't feel this. I mean, people are feeling it and they're loving it and they want more. And so, oh, Rakes points out my husband is a tourist and he is a lawyer. Yes, that's true. So, so a little bit more about my family. So just my husband was an attorney, and I had spent a lot of nights where he was working late or working weekends or whatever. And so that's part of where my love of movies comes from. It's something that I have no problem going to the movie theater by myself. Other people think that's weird, but that's something that I've always done. And so yeah, so he is retired early. I tell that story in my thank you, the Naga Chaitanya video. Because that's a movie about Naga Chaitanya's character goes through a big life change when his girlfriend leaves him, and he really totally reevaluates his life. And I said, "Is that realistic?" And I said, "Well, it's happened to my own husband because he was working a million hours as this high-powered attorney and almost missed our middle son's high school graduation. A client insisted he fly to New York from Chicago the day of the graduation. And I said, don't go, something's going to happen." And this is my son, Zach, who would really care. To this day, I don't know if Zach knows that his father almost missed that. The flight was delayed. The client didn't even show up at the meeting. Like, he flew to New York and he ended up doing a phone meeting anyway. And that was kind of one of the straws that broke the camel's back. And so if we're living a little bit more modestly, that's fine, because now I think my husband would have been on the road to have an early heart attack and dying if he'd continued that craziness. So Vishnu says he thinks that the next Rajamouli might be a Mahesh Babu. You know how much I would love that. Okay, Tanzia wants to know my favorite SRK movie. All right, this is like, what is my favorite child? I just have a soft spot for DDLJ because that's where it all began. The Palat scene on the bridge, that's like my favorite, one of my favorite things. But like I said, I mean, there's different movies for different moods. Rodney Bunny D. Jody is really a comfort movie for me. Although the whole sumo wrestling portion, like, I can completely skip over that, Kush says Kabhi Haan Kabhi Na. I know that's one of Shah Rukh's favorite films. I actually kind of, and so, I was one of the people who really liked his film Fan, which I know most of Shah Rukh Khan's fans didn't necessarily love that film, but I felt like here he was playing a version of himself as the star, and then it was just so meta. It's so awesome. But though uncanny, because if you didn't know, they used cheek molded. The makeup artist was from Hollywood, and he had a cheek mold of Brad Pitt's cheeks, and that's what they used for the prosthetic to make him look like the everyday man fan character. And it was like like an uncanny thing where you're like, it looks like him, but it doesn't look like him. Anyway, Vishnu points out that RRR being dubbed in Hindi. Oh, I didn't know that Rajamouli, if you can't read the comments, Rajamouli openly said in a Netflix interview that he hated that Netflix only took the Hindi and not the rest of the languages. I would love to know the backstory and all those things with the language rights. Like, it's insane. So I actually watched, I purchased Z5, which I hadn't subscribed to, only so that I could show RRR in the Telugu to family and friends, because I just have a thing about watching things dubbed. Like, I would rather watch it in the original language, if at all possible. And it's making me insane that we cannot purchase Bahubali in Telugu on DVD. Like, I ordered it and then it was Hindi. I'm like, what? So Indian Guy says, have you tried to watch movies other than Indian and English? And Kush asked, have I watched any Turkish shows? I have not watched any Turkish shows, but I have seen the clips of some of those dramas, and they're amazing. So it's funny that you ask if I watched any of the movies. I'm on a kind of a string of watching Korean content, and I absolutely am addicted to Korean dramas, but I have watched a lot of Korean films, like, well, not a lot, not like almost 700 like Indian films, but Train to Busan, if you guys haven't ever seen that, amazing, like my favorite zombie movie ever. And Parasite, of course. So yeah, I definitely watched foreign language films, and have for a long time. I used to go to the Sundance Film Festival, and it doesn't matter to me, as that 1-inch barrier of subtitles, it doesn't matter what language something is in. I will watch anything. But right now I am on a string of watching Korean content, because I feel like Bollywood in particular, which used to give me such romantic movies, is really not right now. And so where I'm getting those romance stories is from Korean dramas. And that's really what saved me during the pandemic. I was so depressed and whatever, and that became like my new obsession. And I actually created with three other friends who I met through discussing Indian films on Twitter. So that Vicky girl, if you're familiar with her, she has had a reaction channel for a long time talking about Indian films. Catherine Matthews, who has totallyfilming.com, and she has a podcast about Malayalam films. And then Elisa, known as Bollywood Newbie on Twitter. Anyway, so Elisa asked me, and we have a podcast called Debak about Korean dramas. So that's how into it I am. I have a podcast for that. Thank you for all the cracks. Three. Tansil says, after 4 years, yes, 4 years of waiting, we have 3 Sharuk films coming up. Ashok says, you still continue to watch Hollywood movies simultaneously with Indian movies. Well, part of that is to have something to discuss with my husband and my children. So pretty much every Marvel movie we go to see. I will admit, I don't run out to the theater to see everything. I wait for a lot of Hollywood stuff to come on streaming. But definitely, my husband went out, and I went out to see the Thor movie, the latest one. And I do love Taika Waititi. I had the pleasure, he was at the Sundance Film Festival before the first Thor movie came out, and he was the MC for the awards ceremony. And so I was actually at Sundance this year because my husband and I helped a young filmmaker make his first feature film. We were executive producers on How to Tell You're a Douchebag. So an African-American rom-com. And since our film was there, we went to the awards ceremony, and he was hilarious. Taika Waititi, like almost anything he says, I find so funny. However, I felt like the tone of Thor: Love and Thunder, like he said it was going to romance, and then the heroine dies. Like, please, it's not a romance if the heroine dies. And I just like that was kind of wildly like whiplash with the tone of that movie. I don't know. I mean, most of the time I find Taika really funny, but it was a little bit too much. Okay. Let's see. What are your thoughts on Lal Singh Chadha? Yeah, when I did my trailer reaction, like mostly I really like Amir Khan. I admire him. I admire the films that he's gotten made recently using his production company. Making women's stories like Dangal and Secret Superstar. But I don't know, when he does kind of these wide-eyed, innocent characters, sometimes it's a bit much, right? Like, so until I see the film, I'm withholding full judgment. And I know I'm not going to get all the cultural clues the same way the Forrest Gump was filled with scenes from American history that were touch points that, when we saw him meeting with Nixon or whatever, like, or meeting Elvis, like there were so many things. And I know I'm not going to catch all of those kinds of things that they put into, into this Indian remake. But, we'll see. Okay. Vishnu, fun, rapid answers. DQ or Fahad? Okay. Oh, now you're making me. Okay. So, I'm a bigger fan of Dulquer, but I will admit Fahad is the finer actor. Samantha or Nyantra? Samantha. Mohanlal or Mammootty? Mohanlal all the way. Kamal or Rajni? Rajni. Junior, NTR or Ram Charan? Oh my God. Why can't I hit both? Both is good. Both is good. Kajal or Rani? Kajal. Again, going back to DDLJ. Nani or Prabhas? Oh my God. Okay. Like, Nani is probably the better actor, but Prabhas is my first love of Telugu cinema. My first film in Telugu was Bahubali. Like, how can I not? But would the man get some better scripts? Like, somebody help this man get some better scripts, because his last couple of films, I think you'll all agree with me. Oh my God. Rashmika or Pooja? I guess Rashmika. Okay. Sunny asks, have I seen Miss Marvel? Yes. Oh my God. Oh my God. Fawad, do you know how excited I was? Fawad was back on my screen. Like, my husband was just laughing at me. I was excited because I had seen Farhan Akhtar in the IMDb credits, which is the internet movie database. And I was like, is he just directing? Is he doing something? Is he actually going to make a cameo? And then there was a whole episode with him. Epic. But Fawad! I loved Miss Marvel. I loved the music in it. Anyway, let's see. Amr, Sunny says Amr would remind us too much of PK. That's kind of what I was getting at. That kind of like that innocent, wide-eyed character. Kush wants to recommend Pachinko. Yes, I am like part of the way through that. I read the book, and so I knew a little bit, but I think the way that it is being adapted is great. I love the time skipping back and forth. I think that actually, rather than in the book, it's a linear narrative. And I think that is really effective storytelling. And I absolutely love the opening credits with the dance. Yeah, Pachinko, highly recommend. Yes, Vishnu says, how could I miss Miss Marvel? Of course. My husband and I tend to watch all the Marvel shows, all the Star Wars shows. We're watching the Star Trek. But yeah, that's what he is willing to sit down and watch. He doesn't watch a lot of TV. Tell us about the web series. Indian guy asks us, tell us about something about the web series. So the web series, I mean, I don't know if you just mean like on Disney Plus, like the those kinds of things. Like basically any of those Marvel things I have seen. Samantha is rumored to be in a film with Ranveer Singh. Oh my God. Thoughts on Ranveer's nude photo shoot controversy? First of all, thank you, Ranveer, for your service. Can I just say that? Oh, me and my podcast partners, we talk about Indian film too in a group chat every day. And it was like, we were just laughing over his photo shoot. and then the reaction of how all of these, I haven't completely followed everything, but just how it's become this national controversy. And then there was some fashion house that like edited the picture, photoshopped the picture to put clothes on him, and we're like, we fixed it. So the posing he's doing, like, this shows my age. He's echoing back to there was Burt Reynolds did a nude photo shoot like that back in the 80s. Like, I remember that. It was very controversial. I mean, it's Ranveer being Ranveer. Like, come on. I like, they're saying that it's hurting women's sensibilities. Not this woman's sensibilities. I'm just saying. He wears crazy clothes and he goes crazy not wearing clothes. What can I tell you? So, let's see if I missed any other questions. So, going back, I'm sorry I missed this one. Comedy is hard to get when watching with subtitles. Which industry's comedy movies do you get easily and like? Okay, this is an easy answer because I love the subtitles of Race. Now, you've heard me talk about her. So, Tamil Films, she takes extra care to make sure that if there is a word play in the Tamil, she makes a word play in the English. So she always makes sure that the English speaking audience is in on the joke. Even if there's a visual joke, like there's a sign or something like that, she makes sure that I'm in on the joke. And I appreciate that so much because I can't tell you how many times that I've been in a theater and people are laughing and I'm like, it's over my head. I have no idea what they're laughing at. Now, it could be a reference to an older film. If you watch Malayalam films, I could hear that they're doing a line of dialogue from an old movie, but I don't know what it is. Race will make sure, like in the recent subtitles for Master, she made sure, like, he's saying a line from this song from this movie or whatever. Like there was a little note to explain what the joke was. And so I really appreciate that. So I feel like when I'm watching a Tamil film that Race is subtitled, then I'm getting the full comedy experience. But I am better. I had a funny experience with my neighbor at my old house. She grew up in India, but she hasn't seen as many Indian movies as I have, which makes me laugh. She just, yeah, big high high five to Race. She hasn't seen as many Indian movies as I have, and so I'm trying to remember what we were seeing. We were seeing Happy New Year, which, yeah, I know it's not the best, but it still has some funny moments. And you remember Deepika is doing that whole spoof on Chak De India. She's doing the whole speech, like the locker room speech. And I am dying. I'm dying laughing. And she she's just like, what? Because she hadn't ever seen Chak De India. She hadn't seen all the Shah Rukh Khan movies that I have. So if there's a funny, how many times has DDLJ and the train scene been referenced, right? Like, so I get so proud of myself when I get some of those references, those funny moments like that. But it's hard because a lot of things are wordplay and that doesn't come through in the subtitles all the way often because they just don't take the care to make sure or if it's somebody, I don't know. So the comedy is hard, let's just put it that way. And so sometimes I don't get the full impact of a comedy movie. Like Amar Akbar Anthony, like I know other people absolutely love it and I just felt like, what? I don't know. It just wasn't as funny to me as like some people are just like, it's the most hilarious movie that's ever been made. And I'm like, oh, okay. Indian guy asked if I have seen Joe and Joe. I have not. I will look for it on streaming. So Tanzil asked, am I excited for Avatar 2? I enjoyed the first Avatar. It was amazing. Boy, it's been a long time to wait for this second one. I don't know if it's going to, I don't know if it's going to live up to the hype. So we'll see. we'll see. I mean, looking at the trailer was amazing. Indian guy asked, can you list some of your favorite movies of 2022 up to this summer? Okay. So for Hindi, there's really only one, and Sunny's already made fun of me for the way that I pronounce things, but you know, I thought Alia was so amazing in that movie, in Gangubai. So I know I'm, you know, murdering it. So one thing is somebody said they were amused the way I was pronouncing things, and Sunny always makes fun of me. But remember, sometimes I've only ever seen something in print. I've never heard it spoken. So I honestly do want you to correct me in comments if I ever mispronounce something or I have the wrong emphasis, you know, on the wrong syllable or whatever, you know, like please do correct me because I want to learn. Like it's so cringe for me to watch some of my early reviews because I'm so bad at mispronouncing names and titles and things. And even so, I know I'm not perfect. I'm getting there. I'm getting better, but I always want to learn more. Okay. Let's see. Other favorite films. For Telugu, that's totally easy, right? Like it's RRR all the way. I have watched that so far all the way through. I've watched it 3 times, but I wish I could have seen it in the theater when it came out. Was when things were really going on with us selling our house and everything. It was too crazy. It's amazing if you didn't know in the U.S. it's being re-released in a lot of theaters because people loved watching it on Netflix so much and they wanted to have that experience of seeing it on the screen. And so it's actually come back to some movie theaters. Not unfortunately my local one. Malayalam films. Well, for Tamil films, I would say the recent Gargi, starring Sai Pallavi. You guys know what a fan I am of Sai. She's amazing. And it's totally a heroine-focused film, and she was great. And then Malayalam, I don't know. I don't know if I have one outstanding favorite. Yeah, there's a lot of good ones, but like not one particular, like, oh, definitely this is the one standout. Kasagan asked, do you think films are a dying medium? I don't see this medium lasting another 50 years with virtual reality experiences around the corner. So it's actually interesting. The last time I was at the Sundance Film Festival was the first time that I really experienced, you know, virtual reality. So they have I can't remember the name of it, but it's they had short films that you could experience as a virtual reality. So like it was like the Little Prince and you were on his little planet with him and his rose and whatever, and you could walk around. And it was amazing. And so maybe that is the way that it will go, and that we were really sometimes like when you're in the movie theater, you really feel like you're immersed in that. And so I don't know, that could be the way things that go. I don't think films are dying, but I think it's changing, right? But I did find out something about myself over the pandemic is that it's harder for me to completely get focused in and lose myself in a film if I'm not in the theater. If I'm just watching something streaming, which was our only option for many months, it's not the same for me. And partly it's because I have ADHD. My husband laughs at me. I'm like, squirrel. Like, you know, like I just like get distracted by things. And so if I'm just watching something at home where I can pick up my phone and check Twitter and like I don't focus in the same way when I'm in the theater, and I could just completely lose myself in that movie and I have no other distractions. It's a very different experience. It is changing though, and I find myself the same way where, you know, and I'm sure you are too. It's like, is it worth it to go to the theater to see this? Partially, it's like I could have a risk of getting COVID again. I'm not wearing a mask in the theater right now, but it's just like, you know what I mean? Any kind of group experience like that. I have the fortune of being able to go see matinee movies because I can go during the day, but you know, when it's not necessarily as crowded. But you know, so those big spectacle movies, I think it's still going to be something that people want to go to, but I don't know if for every smaller little film, it's really that different than watching it at home, right? Like, there's certain films that have come out, and I'm like, yeah, I can just wait. So I try to go see Indian films, but I think viewers are changing, and in India too, we're more, hey, XX, thanks for joining in. Badai I really liked. And I do really like Rajkumar Rao, and I thought that movie was really good. So you asked, do I like Friends? It was really popular when my children were very young, so I have definitely seen it, but I have not obsessively seen it. I have not seen every episode. I don't know it inside and out, but couldn't escape it in the U.S. One of the things that amused me, as I said, I'm really into all things Korean right now. The leader of the K-pop group BTS, his name is RM. He learned English by watching Friends. Literally, he would then watched it all the way through. His mom got on the DVD, watched it all the way through, then turned off the subtitles, and that's how he learned. Sunny says, I've seen RRR 20 times. Oh my God. Wow. All right. So Sunny says that Rajamouli says there is Oscar buzz. Okay, I have to give a little bit, maybe in some of the technical awards. I don't know. I think there's still a stigma about Indian films, and I obviously I don't have it, but I don't know. I don't, that the rules of how things are nominated for Oscars, it's very clubby and clicky, like people vote for their friends and whatever, and things are changing. The Oscars are like my World Cup, like the same way like someone would know every football player and whatever. Like, I follow the Oscars, I have for years, and it's changing and that they've invited more people into the Academy. Like just this year, Kajol and Surya were invited into the Academy to vote and nominate films. But there's not that many people from South Asia who are a member of the Academy. And there is a bias to, European films and, if it's from Italy or whatever, like, I don't know. I mean, there's just this stigma. And so even if something got nominated, would it make the final cut for the top 10 best picture? Doubtful. I don't know. Not that I wouldn't like it. If I was a member of the Academy, I would definitely vote for it. But I'm just saying, is it an Oscar movie? It used to be like, what would a white 65-year-old man vote for? That's what's going to win. It's changing a little bit, like with Parasite winning, but I don't know. So I'm hoping, let's all cross our fingers, okay? Because probably India is not going to be smart and nominate it as their film for the foreign language film. I don't know. Let's see. Vishnu says his favorite Hindi movies are Gangubai, Badai and Jalsa. I haven't seen Jalsa. Okay, I'm gonna have to look. Love Hostel and Jund. Okay, I'm gonna have to. Hussein says, "Are you late? You're never late. You're here. We're glad you're here." Say Sean is cool. Says there's been a bit of films, web series coming from Bollywood Hindi history with LGBTQ plus characters and stories. What are your thoughts, and do you think it's making a positive change on the view of LGBTQ plus? I agree. I'm seeing more of it, and I think it's great. It's there needs to be more representation, even more. But I felt like why am I blanking on titles? But there has been a few in the last couple of years, and I think we need more. I thought Badai was great. I thought it was good representation. It wasn't horrible stereotypes, and it laid out some of the issues and the problems, but in an entertaining way that made it palatable to general audiences seeing it. So I would like to see even more. Starboy asks, have you watched Coffee with Karan? Your opinion? So I haven't watched every single episode of Coffee with Karan, and I've only watched the first episode of this new season with Alia and Ranveer, and it was very amusing. So I want to watch I think Samantha Prabhu, who I know from Telugu industry. I think she's in one with, is it with Akshay? Anyway, so yeah, I am going to be watching them, but I haven't watched all of them. Have I watched Roja and Bombay? Mahiwa asks. Yes. So Bombay, oh my God, and Roja was one of the first Tamil films that I saw. Again, I talked about my next door neighbors from South India, and the husband recommended Roja and helped me track down a copy that I could see with subtitles, and it was amazing. Sunny says, US because of Oscar reasons, is it picking up underground traction just like Parasite did? That could be. But you also need to know that Parasite had a very wealthy patron who paid for an Oscar campaign. So an Oscar campaign is almost like a political campaign, in that it needs money. You actually have to advocate for the film, hold screenings, wine and dine people. Like it takes a lot of effort. And the last Indian film that I think even tried to do that was Lagan, which was nominated, but you have to realize there was major money. One of the producers of Parasite, she's a very wealthy woman that lives in LA, and she was behind making Parasite so visible during that Oscar season. So will someone do that? Will Rajamouli care enough, or will there be somebody that steps in to spend that money? Would Rajamouli be willing, for instance, to take time away from filming his next film to spend months in LA holding screenings, doing, Q&As with Academy voters? Like, is he really going to do that? That might be what it would take, right? Or, NTR and Ram Charan coming to the States and doing screenings and having Q&As. Will they do it? I don't know. I mean, that's what it would really take. And I don't know if that's going to happen. So Hussein wants to know, when will you come to India? Oh my gosh. I was going to come. I was planning a trip for the last part of 2020, and we know what happened. So it is still going to happen, probably next year. So I just keep telling my husband we have to do this, but we've had a lot going on with selling our house, buying this house, building a house in Colorado in the mountains. Like, there's just a lot going on. So I'm feeling more confident. I did get COVID, and so did my husband. I know you can get it again. Look at our president; he just got it again. So, as a rebound from taking that Paxlovid medication. But anyway, I'm definitely coming. Probably mostly South India, maybe Mumbai. I have to go to Kerala, and then since I've been working with my friends at APB Deshram, I might, stop at Hyderabad, and I definitely need to go to Chennai to visit Rakes. So I don't know exactly when it's going to happen, but it will. Definitely going to. Sunny says the songs in his head are from Pushpa. Yeah, Pushpa had amazing music. I agree with that. So let's see if I've missed any other questions. So Sunny says Samantha is hilarious. I would imagine she would be. I'm looking forward to seeing her. So, all right. Let's see if I missed any. Celebration without any natu. No, I'm not going to dance for anybody. But oh my God, it was at the highlight of the movie for me. I'm telling you, it was so amazing. God. I'm just going back through, see if there's any questions that I missed. I do appreciate all of you joining this morning, and appreciate all of you as viewers as well. And I appreciate it because there's certain names that I see over and over and making comments with almost every video. And I mean, or if it's whichever particular language industry that you always comment for Malayalam films or whatever. And I really do appreciate that. Let's see. Dash says numbers do not define your quality, Mel. I wish you have subs and multifold though. Yeah, I mean sometimes I wish I had more subscribers, but you know, I'm not doing this. If you didn't know, I'm not doing this to make money. I sort of feel like I'm throwing a little shade, but I feel like some other people got into it not just because they loved Indian cinema, but because they felt like this was this huge audience, and um and so they just kind of jumped on that bandwagon. Sonny asks, can you come to India with me? I'm gonna bring my husband. So I am you know, I do this because I love it, right? This is a passion project, and I am being paid for the ABP Desham classic Telugu reviews. But it's, you know, it's not a huge amount. I more just enjoy my conversations with Harsha, and it's just fun being able to do. So somebody asked if I have a movie partner. I don't know exactly what that means, but I tend to go to the movies by myself. I know other channels have been successful because they're a conversation. They have two people on. However, it's easier for me doing it by myself. I'm just being honest because, like, I will see a movie. First day, first show here might be like it's beginning in the morning on a Friday, but for me, I get to see it like at 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. on a Thursday night. Like if it's a huge movie, I will then come home. It's like 11 o'clock at night. I will record my review, and then I will stay up until 1 in the morning and I will edit it because then it's released during the day when I put it on YouTube for you guys to watch. So there hasn't been that many films lately that have had that kind of, oh my God, I got to get it out right this second. You know, so that's kind of, you know, I've kind of been an advantage of being able to kind of see things a little bit ahead, and sometimes of some other reviewers in India, but I don't know, you know, it's this is for my passion. It's this has been a fun hobby for me and a passion, and I'm not doing it. The amount that I get for, I told my husband how much I have earned for the entire 5 years, and he was like, "Wow!" Like it was the amount. You know, I do get a little bit of money if you see an ad that plays during, but because most of my viewers are in India, it's not the same amount of, it's not a huge amount of money. So I don't think Indian advertisers pay that much for showing those ads on YouTube. So, you know, and I'm not getting millions of views like some other people. So, but that's fine. I don't care. Vishnu says the amount of money for Oscar publicity and screening in one movie is enough to make 2 to 3 Malayalam movies. Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. Any OTT content you've watched recently? No, but I have some things on my list. So because I'm going to be traveling, Rakes also asked what's next, and I don't even know what movie is coming out. I think there's a Niven Pauly movie that did come to my local theater. I haven't had a chance to because we had family visiting and whatever, and we're watching my son's dogs yesterday. I didn't have a chance to go to the theater. So I think I'm going to try to catch that this week, and I may do some classic reviews. And I never saw Prithviraj's previous film, Jana Gana, whatever. Sorry. So the previous Prithviraj film, and I know that's on streaming. So I might catch a couple of those and try to get some of those reviews done before I'm traveling, or schedule them out so that they will play over the next couple of weeks while I am out of town. But I will be back here in September. So yeah, I'm like, there's no huge film on the horizon for August that I like. I'm, you know, if I miss it in the theater, that I'm, you know, going to be crushed. But Vikram Veda, I'm looking forward to seeing that next month. So, all right, we've been talking for a little bit over an hour. And I really appreciate all of you joining me this morning or evening for you. And I will see you next time. I hopefully will be doing another live because this is pretty easy with this new software. And also, the key is the reading glasses, so I don't look like I'm like this reading with my bifocals. All right. Thank you all for joining, and I appreciate you all. Bye.